My name is Shamma Al Amri. I'm an artist and I really focus on conceptual artwork. And especially for the past few years, I have been focusing solely on the Arabic language and understanding it, especially that predominantly the global landscape of contemporary art is predominantly English speaking. So I wanted to kind of escape to my mother tongue and really explore it and see how does that sit within the contemporary art conversation. During this program and residency, I continued my research in Arabic language. And that's mainly what I've been invested in for the past few years. The Arabic language is considered very sacred also to our history and to our identity. And I've been looking also at its effects on us and how we function in society. Words dictate how we behave. There's words that exist in one language and don't exist in another language. And that tells you a lot about the effect on it on one's identity. From there, I started looking also as the function of an artist. What dictates my function on an artist from a language perspective? So for example, I took the language of the oath, which is something very common in this region, is also used for professions that are considered very civil, like being a doctor or a lawyer. They have an oath to perform in society. As an artist, what is my oath and how should I perform in society? What is the correct way to perform in society? So one of the first pieces that kind of triggered this whole body of work is taking all my research and understanding or trying to recreate an oath for artists. And I took all this research of many pages of understanding the word of loyalty, of truth, and who should I serve, and what is my bigger purpose, and what I should be bound by and not change and leave that system. And then presented it in this very transparent format, like a big block of glass, where all the words become like X-rayed. And although it's almost transparent, it creates the counter effect where you can't read anything because all the words start going into each other and get overlaid over each other, and it becomes hard to dismantle. So it kind of shows you this web or network of when language becomes something else and not just a way of communicating, but a way of kind of dictating the way we see the world and how we function in society. One of my favorite works, probably like even the simplest, but it took time to think about, was the color kind of theory reading of works and how we look at it. Everyone looks at that as various colors, when in reality it's 3 colors. Like a lot of the visitors come and they're convinced that they see 9 colors, and I have to convince them that these are purely 3 colors and that your eye is mixing the color, which really also exposes this idea of narrative and perspective and how one thing could be right for someone and could be different for the other, and it's really hard to kind of establish that ground. There's also works in the exhibition that's actually created outside my studio and not by myself as an artist, and that's part of my research and understanding the meaning. So after I exhausted the meaning on myself, I rewrote the word over and over as though I'm trying to learn calligraphy, which I'm actually not good at and I have not been trained as, but trying to rewrite it over and self-impose that exercise on myself. I also decided to take it outside to kind of the real social context of the community. And for example, I approached the correctional institution, which has the word correct in it, which are inmates in prison, which obviously they would have done something wrong to be there. And for example, ask them to create sculptures of the word correct because they have this crafts department. Another one, for example, I wanted to go outside. I was looking and examining the construction workers here at the site. They were doing an extension and they were making perfectly straight steel rods, and that was the correct way for them. So I approached them and did this experiment of bending this rod to write the word correct for me, which again exposed something really interesting. Over time, the bending of the word got worse instead of got better. There's also an interactive piece, and it's done in this really heavy steel and uses the Kufic text, which is one of the oldest type that's used to write the Quran, to kind of preserve it. Interestingly enough, the Quran does not have the word sah in it as it is. It has narratives and stories about what's correct, but it does not exist in the singular form. So I used that font to create this steel sculpture that's magnetically kind of activated. Once you push one sah, the other صح starts swinging with it. And it kind of shows you this dynamic relationship between kind of two corrects and when they get apart and how far they can get apart, how close they can get. And also in Arabic, words get multiplied. So the word صح, صح 2 times means wake up. Being an artist didn't come to me naturally, I have to be honest. I was a very inquisitive person, and I'm really interested in concepts and how kind of it dictates our understanding of the world. So I love reading, I love researching, and somehow I found myself in the medium of art because its capacity to pose such questions and to analyze and to think and to be able to unpack concepts that sometimes seem very black and white or very binary.